You are listening to the Iconic Agent New Construction Marketing Podcast.
I'm Nathaniel Crawford.
And I'm Damon Green.
We've helped agents sell over $400 million in new construction since 2020.
And now we're here to skyrocket your sales. Let's build your real estate empire and create the life you deserve. In this episode, we dive deep into new construction and luxury new construction with Chasten J. Miles.
One of the things that we had talked about, me and Chasten were talking about just with the numbers. Obviously, they're really sexy. It's good to get 2% on $5 million. Mm-hmm. But looking at as you're way back when, you sort of cut your teeth on selling condos, and you're sort of coming back to sort of revisit that.
Yep.
Part of this question is obvious. There's an obvious answer to, because it's obvious financial thing. But walk me through your thought process in saying, hey, I really want to dig deep into this luxury stuff here in South Florida. The fact that those tiered commissions are really big, but they're also paid out over time. How do you think that sort of fits into your goals when you're looking at your business going forward?
Yeah, I think the best way to understand that for me is kind of going back a bit to why I even moved to South Florida. Because as many people know, I was in Dallas, Texas, and that's where I've been for the last 12 years or so in my real estate business. And I decided to pack up and move to South Florida. And one of the big reasons was because I get excited about these projects here. You know, Dallas is great, and we have some beautiful homes, and I've built a very big real estate business there. However, truth be told, it just got to a point where I just wasn't getting excited like I was. You know, that spark that you have when you first get into the business. Yeah. And I grew up, I was born in Houston, Texas, and I moved to Georgia for a good part of my life, and then I moved back to Texas. And one thing about Texas real estate is, in my opinion, it's not very unique. It's not very unique unless you're in those super uber price points, you know. And I had been visiting South Florida a lot, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, even Central Florida, but more so Miami. And I would notice the architecture of the buildings and what was coming up, and it was almost like those buildings that you see on Instagram that you're like, oh my gosh, this is cool. Where in the world is this? And you're thinking it's like Dubai or something, and then you find out it's in Miami or, you know, the surrounding areas. And I was like, I want to be in a place like that, because I'm a very creative person, and I'm sure we've all been through this. We get to that point where we start to almost resent real estate a little bit, because it's just like you're on that hamster wheel, and it's like, nothing's unique, nothing's new, and I needed that spark. And since I'm a very creative person, I like to market properties creatively. Many people know I do a lot of videos, and in order for me to do that authentically, right? Yeah. That's a bar. Do your videos, be authentic. Yes. But in order for me to do that authentically, I had to go out and seek products that would allow me to do that.
Yeah.
And
that excited you.
Yeah. And I would visit these communities, and thank you for taking me to some of these communities lately, because they've been exciting just to see the uniqueness and the creativity that's not only going on in the exterior architecture of it, but inside units and what they're doing. And so with that being the case, it was like, okay, this is why I want to do this. Like, I don't just want to do the cookie cutter master plan communities anymore. Like, I want to find unique art pieces and put my own spin on it. And so,
you know what, I had something very similar. This is when we first started. I used to Metropica, and going through, like, I was like, this is a condo building with all these dope amenities and stuff inside it. So I'd hear about the resort style amenities and do things like that. And then me and my lady, when we were in Atlanta, we got a place together, and we went to a couple brand new. They were mid-rise because they weren't high rises in like the Roswell area. Yeah. They were mid-rises, but there's brand new construction luxury apartments. And I went in there and I'm like, oh snap! And I hit him up. I was like, Nate, I've been marketing these resort style amenities, but now I'm living in a style. I was like, I see it. Mm-hmm. I feel not just like, okay, I'm in this. I went on a site tour. Like I'm living in that. I was like, this is dope. Like I was promoting it. It was almost like manifestation. This is dope. I'm here now. I can witness. Now I didn't use them as much as I could have because I'm a workaholic, and that's a whole other story. Well, but it was there.
Yeah, there's one thing to tell people about this wonderful spa. It's another thing to live somewhere where you're like, man, this spa is wonderful.
Yes. Yeah. Every day's a vacation.
There you go. But that transforms how you talk about it, how you market
you're
it,
living it,
the content you create around it, because you are genuinely excited about the building, the property, the development, the attention to detail that goes into a lot of this stuff.
You want other people to experience that too, and you've experienced like, oh, so it's different. Like, yeah, there's resorts, but like, nah, y'all don't understand.
You got to see this toilet.
You got to see this, yeah.
Like that becomes a thing, and as you like you were talking about with this, when you have the spark of, man, this is really dope, and you get to work in that space of, frequency breeds familiarity. So you see these things regularly, so you're not impressed, but you're always excited. And that balance of being able to take a client somewhere and be comfortable there because you're frequently there, but you're still excited about being there. This isn't my first time in a $5 million condo, but this is a dope condo.
Yeah.
And that space is really exciting, and that authentic excitement translates to authentic engagement, which translates to authentic sales.
Yep. And I'm 100% about that lifestyle too. I mean, I've had so I ended up purchasing a big house 2 years ago, and I hated it, to be honest with y'all. Like, I hated it. I was living the condo life, and I was like, oh, I need to, move out to the suburbs, and had this big house with just any and everything you could think of. But here I am. I'm like, it's too quiet out here, and what am I like? Scary movies. Oh man, I gotta take care of my own this and that, and here I am now, so back in the city.
All this house. That's something we don't think about.
Yeah, and so here I am back in the city, and I mean, I've told myself, and I know for a fact now that I am 100% condo life. Like, I love the amenities. I love the lifestyle. And I think that even helps when I sell and being able to speak with those clients, because it's like, I know the stuff that they're going to find valuable to an extent. I know the stuff that they're going to find valuable. I know what they're seeking, and I know the lifestyle. So it's not like I'm trying to convince you that you need a condo, because obviously, if we've made it this far, you already know, especially at a certain price point, you already know this is the type of product that you want. Now, let me move forward and explain and sell you on why this is the specific building, or why this is.
And you can educate them on the, excuse me, you can help to educate people who are purchasing a condo on things they may not have thought about.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they're coming from a big house, realizing they want the condo life, but they forgot to ask, can I buy another parking space?
Yeah.
Because the unit comes with 2 spaces, but I got 4 cars.
Yep.
So do I get a deeded space? Do I have to valet? Like, those little things are things that people don't think about until after closing, and then where do I park? Because if nobody tells you, you just assume, oh, it's a house, I got 4 cars. Well, it's a condo, there's parking spaces.
Yeah.
And those little things are, I got to make sure I can understand that. The maintenance elevator for bringing up my groceries, or for equipment, or for whatever. Understand the taxes. Taxes are different. What does my maintenance cover? Exterior of the building, access to stuff. As someone who lives the life, you understand the lifestyle that frames the desire for a specific type of real estate.
Yeah.
And because you understand that, that helps you to better educate people that are transitioning from a house into a condo, or from a condo in Chicago to a condo in Fort Lauderdale, because those two condo lives aren't the same, may not be the same life. Stuff that's standard in Chicago or in Dallas or in Atlanta might not be standard in Miami, and vice versa. You might move into a condo down here like, oh, we get free valet?
Yeah.
Like, that might not be a thing where you're from, but understanding that, and the more intimately familiar you are with that life as a buyer, that gives you a much more insight into, hey, well, make sure we ask these questions.
Yeah.
You know, that's a thing. We know this. We've all worked with first-time home buyers, and they're buying a house or buying a condo. In this case, we are going to see a lot more first-time luxury home buyers, and they don't know the questions to ask. They don't know all the questions to ask. So if this is your first time buying that luxury condo, that's why you got chased in to say, oh, yeah, well, this was the question I asked because I didn't know. Or this is the hard lesson I learned because I didn't know. This is how it doesn't cost you money. This is how it saves you money. Oh, really? You want to make sure you something on the east? You want something oceanfront? Are you sure you want something oceanfront? Yeah, because I just want to be able to go look at the water. Well, you know, at night, the ocean is black. So there's nothing out there. So you get these wonderful sunrises, but at night the ocean is noisy and dark. So do you want a float-through unit so you get the sunrises and the sunsets? Or if you get a west-facing unit, then you get the sunsets, and at night you get the city. Yeah. So it's not just looking out into the darkness. And those are things that if people have never bought or you've never been in a condo at night, you don't know. So being able to sort of immerse ourselves in that life gives us obviously the cool factor because we be out here like this. Yeah. But we also can educate other people on, hey, this is what we're doing. This is how this happens. These are the things you should be aware of. And I think that's magical.
Yeah, it's also very important for any agents who want to sell condos to educate themselves on those differences in selling a condo versus a single family home. The first condo I ever sold, because this is literally what I wanted to do in my real estate business. I wanted to sell condos. So I went after condos hard in the beginning. First condo I ever sold was $70,000. But I'll tell you, that $70,000 condo taught me so much about the process, even in a sense down to the financing and investor owned versus owner owned. You mentioned parking spaces and special assessments and things like that, things that I just had no clue. And I even got so far in a transaction just to figure out that this condo was non-warrantable, which was a term that I never heard before. And I mean, it was a big learning experience for me. And I try to educate, especially new agents, on things, not, full on how to do it, but hey, condos can be different. Speak with your lender. If you're not working in that luxury space, speak with your lender. Do your due diligence on that community as much as possible before you take that listing. Make sure you have these answers, because at the end of the day, it can affect who can purchase this condo, right? Yeah. Like, just because it's at an attractive price point doesn't mean that everybody can buy it. Yep. And so, it's definitely something you want to become knowledgeable about if you want to play in the condo arena. So, yeah.
Thanks for tuning in to the Iconic Agent New Construction Marketing Podcast for Realtors. Subscribe now on your favorite podcast player. Visit theIconicAgent.com and grab the new construction buyer traction blueprint. And don't forget, join the 5,000 plus strong new construction marketing community at www.theIconicAgent.com/community. Catch you on the next episode.